Hi, I'm Henry Ryan, the president of Christian Leaders Institute. You're watching this video because you're wondering, what is Christian Leaders Institute all about? Maybe you met one of our students who are being trained at Christian Leaders Institute and they want to show you what Christian Leaders Institute is. Now, Christian Leaders Institute was founded in 2006. We offer over 150 hours of ministry training classes. I am a graduate of Calvin Seminary. Our provost, Dr. David Fettis, is a graduate of Calvin Seminary. I would call our theological brand, I would call it evangelical, mild evangelical, reformed, biblical. The training is college level training. The professors that we've recruited, many of them have outstanding reputations in ministry training. Now, we've made Christian Leaders Institute scholarship driven, so free to the students. And what we're looking for in a student is a revival leader, someone who can help a local pastor like you do well in ministry. It sort of reminds me of Acts 6. Here the apostles are doing ministry just like you are doing ministry. You're busy at it, and there's, in the case of Acts 6, a ministry to the widows, for the Hebraic widows and the Grecian widows, and some issues came up where there was more work to be done than the workers to do the work. So the apostles instituted the deacons. Choose 7 men from among you who are known full of the Spirit and wisdom. We will turn this responsibility over to them and give our attention to prayer and to the ministry of the word. So what they did is they started the whole organization of deacons. Now, deacon, the word deacon, was first used by Jesus in the New Testament. If you want to be great, be the deacon, he said, be the servant. Then later on in Acts 6 here, it's applied to the organization, the leaders, these deacons, these steward servants. Then in the New Testament, Paul was called a deacon. He said, I was made a deacon. I was made a minister, it's translated. Sometimes deacon is translated as servant. I'm a servant, a minister, a deacon of the gospel, Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians. And then in Romans, we hear about, I commend you Phoebe, a deacon. Now, all of these deacons, they were ministers. They served in ministry. In 110, the translation of the Greek word deacon was translated into the Latin word ministre, where we get the word today, minister. So how we do it at Christian Leaders Institute is when a student signs up, they start out with a calling and a walk with God class, and this explores their calling to be a minister in the order of a deacon. They also will be taking a Christian Basics class. Now, what the Christian Basics class is it deals with such topics as who is God, what is the Bible, and so forth. Now, these 2 classes are amazing training for someone to be ordained locally as a deacon or even an elder. I think about being a pastor in planting churches and being a pastor over 30 years. I remember we were ordaining leaders who really had no training. They were great people. We liked them. They had a walk with God that we observed. They became elders or deacons, office bearers. They had very little training whatsoever, but we acknowledged that these were people called by God in some kind of ministry to oversee or minister in the church. Now, Christian Leaders Institute takes that kind of inspiration. We start out by giving, acknowledging, is this student talking to you called into ministry? Is this student desiring to take that next step? But we ask them to pick a local pastor, mentor, such as yourself, that they can be connected to in this whole training process. So after these first 2 classes, we have an ordination class, ministry ordination, deacon minister ordination. It's as if this is a local deacon. And what we're asking of you is after they complete this class, that you have an ordination service or laying on of hands, that yes, they have a calling in ministry. Now, this can operate as a kingdom ordination from our perspective, that they will go on our directory, but they could be ordained as a local deacon in your church, but not a deacon who counts money, a deacon who does ministry. Now, this is where it gets to be very enjoyable. After they do this, there are many ministry roles that this student is going to explore. It could be in chaplaincy ministry. It could be in youth ministry. It could be in a full-orbed training program of over 40 hours of ministry training classes where they become commissioned in a commissioned minister role. But all of this to say, this is ultimately for you, the local pastor, the leader, who is trying to raise up leaders for more ministry. What I would suggest you do is check out Christian Leaders Institute, look at the classes, look at the faculty. Our goal is to raise up revival leaders for you in the local church. Our prayer is that this local leader will serve the Lord greatly with you in ministry. If you would like to plant a church, this could be a potential person to send out and plant a church. If you need an associate minister, this could be a great opportunity for you, homegrown, indigenous, to raise up someone. We'll do the training, you do the mentoring, and together we raise up more revival leaders.